Saara, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Lovely to see you. How are you doing?
Good, really good. Thanks for having me. So
Thank you.
excited to be here.
Thank you. So, guys, just so you know, this talk is a full-on improvisation. We had a call like several weeks ago. Was it like 3 or 4 weeks? Was it in
Yes.
May even? And Saara was sharing that she had a project where she used stories for the benefit of the people and the company. And immediately I thought, man, it would be awesome to have her at the conference. And here you have it. So, Saara, thank you so much for
We are.
sharing your time with us and being here today.
Of course. Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Oh. So let's begin where we first began. Tell us a bit about yourselves. Where are you right now? Where your journey started?
Yes. Physically, I'm in Helsinki. I split my time between LA and Helsinki. This is my home country. I come from Finland. I grew up here in the entertainment industry and music and film business. Really, my family is heavily connected to entertainment, and as this is about storytelling, how my story begins is my dad. His career blew up when I was 7 years old, and he became super successful and famous in Finland, and I kind of even early on kind of took on and saw what it means to be successful and passionate about what you do. And actually he's been my client for the past 20 years. And I've been running our family-owned production company half of my life. So stories and passion towards your profession it comes natural to me. But my background is in artist management. I've managed other artists and talents as well, not only my dad. I'm super passionate about global business and just people. Wherever there's people, I'm intrigued. I'm super excited about leading and coaching and working with people, whatever it is. That's why my background is so colorful. I've worked in influencer marketing, in fashion, in music and TV and film, just working with different kinds of people from different backgrounds, going to different directions. That's what I do.
Thank you for sharing your background. Love it. So then I guess this experience helped you when in 2021 you faced your media company faced the challenge. But before we go into it, tell me, what was the company doing, and like how did this journey start? What challenges did you face?
It is how it started is that I founded my own company, and right after I done that, I got a job offer that I couldn't say no to, and it was a media company that asked me to help them with their talent. And I love challenges, so I said yes, let's do it. And it was right before the pandemic, actually, when I started to work for the company. And the company was in facing a big change. It was in the middle of an acquisition, and the pandemic really changed a lot for all of us. So we were facing a challenge where our company or everyone in it, we needed to be profitable. We needed to be happy and healthy and ready to a big change. And that was my job, basically, to make sure everyone was kind of feeling confident about the big change that is coming, and in the middle of the pandemic when everything is already challenging. And for me, it was something that I kind of felt like, because I was in the middle of my own personal journey, finding what makes me and what my story is. So I thought, what can we do? What can we really do? How can we approach this super hectic, difficult situation? No one knows how to operate in this kind of new setup in the world. We are not allowed to go back to the office, and everything is uncertain. And I thought, okay, what I'm best at is stories. I'm really good at finding what makes you the best you. I'm a talent scout. So I thought, I'm going to try it to myself. I did a lot of personal changes. I started from myself, and then kind of expanded to my clients and people I work with, to kind of figuring out what makes us the best us. And that was the beginning of this discovery of storytelling and HR and all of the things that I've been doing for the past 5 years.
May I dig a bit deeper and ask, what was the most challenging part of finding yourself among this outer context of pandemic? Because finding ourselves is like a life quest. But what was the most challenging part for you at the time?
I was actually listening just 10 minutes ago, and I thought I was the person who didn't want to tell my own story. I was always building other people's stories, and I love success stories, and I love helping you to become or achieving your goals. And that's my dream, and that's often my goal. But I never felt like I needed to be in the spotlight or to specifically share my personal story. So I decided, my story, can it be scaled? Like, what's the strategy behind it? What's the strategy behind of my happiness or health or career? How can I do it with a lot of people, or for an organization? And then finding what makes me the best me was being a talent scout and an artist manager. And then I started to ask these CEOs and leaders a question: what do you think, what would happen if we treated every employee the same way an artist manager treats their client's career? It's very specific. It's based on a story. A guitarist doesn't have to know anything about a drummer's work or an accountant's work, but they need to be a band. They need to be able to play together and understand what each one of them brings to the table or to the stage. And kind of finding the essence of that mindset and taking that to the business world is what I felt like. The story is so much bigger than me, that this is not about my story. This is about something bigger, and I'm just someone telling it, and it's something more, really.
Love it.
That's what we did.
Is it correct if I'm hearing that discovering your own story became a part of discovering a bigger story and your role inside it?
Yes.
Wow, that sounds.
I'm a very curious person, and I always bet on myself. I always try these crazy things, and if it works, I'm telling everyone around me and sharing it with my clients and friends. And I'm like, "Have you tried it?"
Wow.
Annoying, I know. Know it all sometimes.
All right. So you were on this journey, you and your people,
Yes.
and you faced this challenge during the pandemics and the business challenge. So tell us a bit more about like what was the challenge in terms of business and how you came to solving it. What was maybe the role the stories played in it?
Well, as a lot of the companies and people were really, really tired and scared in the early 2020s and 2021, and even still, it's not easy to be a human being. I always say that it's really difficult. So the challenge was, the company was not profitable. The employees were not that happy. They didn't really know what to do. Teams weren't working together. Everything felt really sticky. And so we kind of looked at the challenges, that this is what we're facing. what is it that we need to achieve? We want to be profitable, we want to be healthy, we want to feel good, we want to be this. What I learned from my dad is that he always loved his job. He's always excited to go to work, and he always, even though if we face challenges, it should be fun, because we spend a lot of time at work. You should be able to have fun there. So I thought, okay, how it feels like everyone's miserable and it's this uncertainty and agony and everything around us. How we can't just fake smile here. So how can we approach this? And I dedicated passionately all my free time to finding out appreciative inquiry and and positive psychology and what it means to be an artist manager and what it means to build success and personal branding, and took all those elements to leading the team. And then that's how I created the whole HR strategy in the first place.
So would it be right to say that you were applying this mindset and thinking of an artist manager to the HR world? That was one of the recipes for success?
Yes.
Tell us more. Like, how did you apply it? That's really interesting.
Well, first I wanted to understand, what is it that I do in artist management? How do we, if you think about your favorite artist, how is it that it's not luck? It's not just randomly selected people. Of course, the luck is part of it, but there's so many things that has to be in place for your favorite artists to be able to be there where they are today. So I wanted to understand what I've been doing in the past 20 years, what it means. So if I've been talking about being a guitarist, you have to understand what makes you unique. There's 4 steps in my strategy, really. Mapping what makes you the best you, finding a coach or mentor or someone who supports your journey, and then being able to have these, because when you choose a path of a dreamer and you dare to dream, then those dreams become goals when you monitor your process. When it's monthly or whatever works for you or for your company, then we needed to monitor these things. That's the third step. And then 4th was monetizing it. Even if you are the most creative guitarist who just loves playing guitar, you have to pay the bills and you have to find your way of doing business out of it, because it's also, what I've learned is, especially in Finland, it's really difficult to talk about money. But I'm very passionate and excited about talking about it, because when you find your own passion and what makes you the best you, and then you are able to monetize it, that's when the power and when you can make a change, that's where the change happens. You can actually affect how the money flows through you or the company.
Interesting. So if I'm hearing you right, you were affecting several narratives at the time. So having fun at the job is okay. Counting your money is okay.
Or even a must, I would say.
Or even a must. Yeah. And one more specific thing I'm hearing is luck is a component, but not the only thing defining success. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. How are you affecting these? Because introducing these narratives is a big thing. It's a big shift for many people. Can you give us maybe some specific practices or ways you are introducing them to the company?
Yes. Well, first because it was a big change for sure. So first we wanted to kind of be transparent, and we have to explain and tell people and educate people that this is what we're doing. So we had our annual kickoff where we explain what it is, what this means. Every employee gets an artist manager or talent manager. Everyone will be treated as a superstar. What does it mean? So we shared the insights and shared the strategy to everyone and explained what they can expect to happen in the next year. That was the starting point.
So how did this kickoff go? I mean, there are many ways of showing that every employee is a superstar, but very few ways to help people believe it, honestly. How did you do it?
Yes. People were excited, but at the same time, that's only where the work starts. So you have to be able to, it can't be just words. You have to be able to actually do the work too, to be successful or to offer that opportunity for people. You can't just have a kickoff and say, we have these fancy things and then disappear. It has to be about open communications and plans and things that are actually happening in everyday life. It means a lot of change too. That's for sure. So you have to be able to or willing to change as well.
That's true. And we just had a talk in the morning by from Julia from Kusvel. She was sharing how while they shared their strategy, they also offered people to create new ideas for the future and vote for these ideas. And this practice helped them strengthen the idea that future is created by us, by our actions. So that was one of the practices they used while transmitting strategy. What were the ways you've helped this narrative stick?
Kind of the same approach, because I do believe that I don't know how to do everyone's job. I have no idea how to be best at someone else's job. It's not, even to be a good leader, you have to be able to take a step back and monitor or analyze your team. So then you need to understand what they do and how they do it and trust them to know best and let them and let everyone to make mistakes so we can all learn and you can analyze from a bit further so you can see the whole team. So for me, everything started with me interviewing everyone and understanding what is it that you do, what's working and what's not. And then they interviewed their teams and they interviewed their teams to understand what's going on. We can't change anything if we don't know where we are today.
What were some? Well, you've mentioned that you were using appreciative inquiry during, I guess, during the interviews, right?
Yes.
I know that this approach is related to creating a positive and generative question. Maybe you could share a question or two that you've used during the interviews that really triggered an emotion in these people you've been working with.
A big part of our approach or strategy was liberating power. So when we had the kickoff, we talked about what it means to be powerful and what it means to liberate power. It comes with a lot of stuff. It comes with responsibilities. If you have a freedom to choose, you have the responsibility to carry out the whole process and be willing to answer the whole thing. So for us, maybe the biggest change in communications was our appraisal talks that we changed from it used to be 1 hour, one time a year annually. So we changed it to be 1 to 3 hours, depending on what the situation is with each individual. And we changed the questions more. So I always like to talk about that I'm responsible of my own career and my employer is in collaboration with me. So the questions that we asked was more about you finding your own voice and be powerful in your own position, because I'm also letting you do what you think is best in your position.
Mm-hmm. So maybe there was maybe you could share, and Anna is asking in the chat, she's lacking like specifics. Maybe you could share a specific question or a story that sticks to you from that process that really move people to understand they are powerful and
if you think about a traditional appraisal talks, and when you're going through last year or the upcoming year, and a lot of the questions, at least in that company, was about what are you expecting to get out of your relationship with your manager, and is this specific thing okay? What is your manager doing
that was
good?
the past approach.
Sorry?
That was the past approach, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And
we
what did you
changed
introduce?
to be like every single question. If I ask you, what is it that I can do? I can be better as a manager. Then the second question would be, what could you do so I can be a better manager? And kind of shift the conversation to be more open and specifically draw the attention to kind of that we are equal. Often I think employees and the management teams feel like they are on the opposite side. So to talk about, or we this is actually one of my favorite parts, is that we had these roundtable discussions where each one of us or one person came up with something that they are not capable or able to do. They are pushing it back, and you know that one thing in your to-do list that you just move it every single day and you just can't do it. What would you do? And then everyone is bringing this kind of specific thing that you are postponing constantly. And then other people share their experience, what they could do. And that's it. You don't have to find an answer. Everyone just says, this is what I would do, and that's it. And then next week, someone else comes with another kind of just whatever it is that we can have an open conversation and freely discuss about challenges or your dreams. Or you have to be very the atmosphere and surroundings have to be very appreciative and kind for people to be able to open up. So it's very step by step and maybe sometimes a slow process to have these conversations, but just meeting everyone where they are is where to start with. And the questions, I don't have a specific answer to one specific question that would unlock everything, because everyone's different.
But yeah, thank you for sharing the specific practices. I guess that was what Anna was looking for, and me too, because let me reflect on that. Like promoting the powerful, we are powerful narrative takes two forms here. First one is showing that you can affect something and posing the question in such a way that employee realizes he can affect his leader, the one above him, gives him power by asking this question. And another non-trivial thing you're sharing, that then thank you for this, is showcasing your weak points, which is on the outside, it's not related to being powerful, but admitting you have weak points is about being powerful, which is strange, but that's how narratives work. Yeah. Thank you for specific examples.
Often what happens after that is failure is not a negative thing. And then innovation grows and flourishes. You can try things out. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work. Just try it.
I'm curious. All of this is a new norm for the people. What reactions were you seeing when you first introduced the process? Because I don't want to sugarcoat it and say that, oh, just do that. That's the recipe from Saara. Thank you. What was it like in the first days? Tell us the truth.
Well, some people were super excited, got right on, just got it. They were like, yes, I'm ready. I want to be better. I want to understand more about myself. Maybe 1/3 of the people called me Kanye West, and I was too much. And it was too much to handle. And I said, you know what? My background is in artist management. Take 20%. You don't have to just accept everything that I say as a truth to you. You can take what you think is good for you, and I'm not forcing anything. Because when we're talking about success stories, you have to determine what success means. I've never understood how company can have one goal, and then every single individual should be excited about that specific one goal without understanding what my part of it is. So it's about understanding what success means to every individual. That was the most, I think for me, that was the most interesting part. And the biggest learning lesson as a manager is that success looks different for every individual. For some it's freedom, some it's money, some it's different things.
So just to be clear, when you were discussing what success means for these people, was it the thing that helped you overcome this initial barrier, this initial reaction, or was it something else that helped people choose to get on board? As I can hear, you're not pushing. So what helped them get on board?
I think it helped people to understand the relationship between the employee and the employer. And we were able to talk about openly, if you're only thinking about being here for a few years and you want to be somewhere else after that, and your career is about freedom, or your kids, or your whatever it is, it helped people understand what they can ask for, really. And then when you know what you can ask for, then we have a situation we can negotiate. We can't change the company every day to suit every individual, but we can do little tweaks here and there to be able to, because I believe if every employee is successful in their position, the company will be successful. I've never seen a company where every single employee is successful and the company is not.
And just to be clear, by successful, you mean by their standards of successful?
Yes.
Was it, to be honest, was it scary to think that people might have a totally different idea or narrative about success when you were asking these questions?
If that's the case, are you in the right place? Because also a question should be, where I think managers often are scared to talk about, is what if someone wants to leave? That's okay.
But wasn't it scary for you as a leader to, like, let me be clear. When a leader asks a question, he elicits a layer that was hidden before the question was asked. And what I want to know is, when you were asking for what is powerful to you, what is success to you, you could have ended up in a situation where everyone is not on your side as a leader, who you're trying to get the company to results. Was it scary to realize that was a possibility?
Not for me. I don't know why. I'm just overly curious. I don't know why. And I always say that I'm equally, even though I love success stories, I'm equally confident or comfortable in darkness and light. So it's easy for me to find solutions in darkness as well, and in difficult times. So for me, I truly believe that if I dig in deep enough to understand what the employees are looking for, because there's a reason why each individual is working for this specific company. They already know the strategy and the vision and the industry. So what is it that you're looking for from this specific period of time. You don't have to be here for the rest of your life, but for the, let's say, 5 years or 10 years or 2 years, what is it that you want to achieve? And if I can't, or if I'm not able to offer you that, then we have to have a conversation about that as well. What can we do?
That is so true. There are so many directions I would like to go right now. Dear friends, if you want to, you can, add some questions into the chat. I see one from Olga there. I will continue to dig into the direction that really feels connected to the conference. Was it? I know it was enlightening for you to dig deeper and to learn about your people. But were there any people who got enlightened when you were asking them such deep questions? Like you saw that this person didn't have an idea about success, and then started digging and found like, oh, I didn't even think about why I'm here.
I think the freedom of it was enlightening for a lot of people, because I wasn't trying to control anything. I was just liberating the power and see where because it was also a very interesting position to be, where I got the freedom to try things out. I've already had some cases where I can showcase that this is working. We are finding something interesting here, and I monitored everything. I monitored the sick leaves, so sick days, employee satisfaction, revenue, everything. So it wasn't just me trying things out. I was also analyzing every single step along the way.
So freedom on one hand and analysis and numbers on the other. That's really important. I don't want us to come out idealistic. Let's stay stay realists. Okay, freedom really is liberating, and I guess it brought power. So tell me, what was the reaction of people in terms of let me put it this way: those conversations, those group talks you held, what new possible ways of actions did people discover that helped the company grow?
We realized that the structure wasn't working the way we want, or we needed to make some changes in the teams. It wasn't the individuals, but the teams and the structure of the company.
How did you arrive at that?
Because we saw that the teams they didn't work together, and formally it was stopped because of the people couldn't work together, but it was the structure of the company and the teams that didn't. The company wasn't built to cooperation. So we changed the teams. We had 3 teams, creative and production and sales. So we changed the teams to be a bit different, and we switched positions a little bit and tweaked the positions a little bit to be more. It started from individual dreams and their passions and what they wanted to do.
Tell me more. It's just that this is so interesting.
Yes.
So we need to connect how dreams are related to a new structure. I guess there is an insight there.
Yes, because when there was a specific team that they had issues and they couldn't accomplish what they wanted. They had difficulties in processes and finding the right information and access to the information and stuff like that. So when they started to think about what would they want to do and what they need to be able to be successful in their jobs, we realized there's something that we need to offer here. We need to make the road more clear for them. So, if like specifically, if I have a task and I say, I can't do this, I can't I can't make this work because this information is behind locked doors, and I have to be able to collaborate with this team, but there's this block over here that I can't do. So what I would love to do, and what success to me looks like, is that I have that information flowing here freely, and this team supports me so I can be good at my job. And then when we change that and give the responsibility of the whole project to that one person, it changes the whole structure.
Wow. So just, to sum it all up, the people connected with their own vision of success, which was not controlled by the company. And then this connection gave them the energy to think about what can help them succeed in that personal way at work.
Yes.
And then this energy transmitted to real transformation of processes. Is that right?
And I've never gotten as much information about the business and the company as I did after we started that. That was when the information started to flow, and I realized now I have the tools to work with it.
Wow. Awesome.
Because I trust every individual to know what's best for them in their position.
Awesome. Thank you. That's really enlightening. Let's lead this line to one more dot. So personal inquiry led to interest into what success means for me. Then success for me led to interest in how the work is done so the success can be achieved. Then this led to differences in the workplace. So I'm sorry. The last spot we need to hit is, what were the results of this transformation? Can you share some numbers or some, how do you evaluate this process, and how long did it take?
My success story of this is
I mean this whole change in the business.
For me, it feels like what I'm most proud of is that we didn't have there was no sick days. People were excited to come to work. Teams started to work together. They were excited about each other's dreams. If you help me to achieve what I want to achieve, let's have lunch together and figure out how we can do this together. The dynamic in between teams changed tremendously. And then very specifically, the numbers from the revenue grew 40% in 1 year. And the result, I think, if I remember correctly, 2020, the result was minus 500,000 or something euros. And year after, it was plus 20,000. So it changed drastically.
Wow. That's huge. Thank you. And Howard commenting, well done to Saara and team for trusting their people and process. Howard, spot on. Couldn't say it better. Oh, wow. That's huge. While I'm listening to you, I'm hearing a story of a person who came from this artistic management, which is a very creative sphere business. But I'm trying to put it towards some of the clients of mine. For example, I had this workshop for an HR of a big company with they're extracting stuff from the soil. I forgot like manufacturing, but and they are very, very strict in terms of processes, suits and ties, all very official. I guess this, for me, an outsider, this level of going deeper and inquiring about what success is for you personally is blocked by so many levels in such structures. What would you advise people to do that would, like to step on your journey and try that in their company, but they see that there's lots of layers stopping them?
You can always do it personally. That's what I do. I always tell my clients that tonight when you go home, just look at yourself in the mirror. Give it 2 minutes, 3 minutes, as long as it's a little bit uncomfortable, and start with yourself. Start building that honest relationship with yourself where you feel like is this my story? What is it that I want to tell? You don't have to tell it to anyone else. You can tell it to yourself, but you have to understand it and you have to own it. So start with yourself. Everything starts with yourself, inside you, the things that you can control. When you take control of yourself and start there, you can take one step at a time. Not everyone. I'm a bit of a wild cat. I might be the one who says you do this, and I'm stubborn and I fight for my cause, and I'm eager to drive change. You don't have to be a fighter. Not everyone is, and it doesn't have to be like that. The diversity is the key. But what makes you even a little bit more happier or confident about your future is to start with yourself. Make sure you understand what you want, what success means to you. Sometimes I do these check-ins with myself, and I look in the mirror. I'm like looking at my face for 5 minutes, and I'm like, I look tired. It's been a tough week. I don't really know what to do. It's not easy, but you know what? What's the big dream? Go back to that and just start the conversations with yourself. That's what you can actually have an effect.
Anywhere else that would be considered schizophrenic, but since we're on a storytelling conference, this is okay. I like how you're actually connecting what Lilia, Saundra, and Ralph were talking about. Let me just sum it up. You need curiosity to face yourself and ask yourself such deep questions. When you do it with curiosity, you become a role model, the lighthouse Saundra was talking about. And when you become a role model, you can ask others, just like Lilia did, with this light coming from yourself, from inside. You can ask others in such a way that they will feel this is a genuine question that you lived through. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you are genuinely curious, right? You don't have to pretend.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. Kind of a tricky question from me. What if I don't care about the people, but I'm in the HR position? I mean, that happens. Let's admit it. Yeah. Not all HR are keen on people. Some people just left the conference. Yes, but I'm just kidding. But sometimes in terms of your career, you're just like a doctor. You don't feel as connected to the teams and their interests and their hopes and their dreams anymore, because that's just, those are lines in the blank. Is there any way you keep this attitude, this curiosity, this desire to learn more about your people alive in yourself and maybe the people around you?
I would ask, what are you curious about? Are you curious about data? Can you work on can you find your passion toward people?
I lost you there. So.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Come again. I lost you at.
Can you hear me now?
Are you curious about data?
Yeah, I would ask, what are you curious about? If it's not specifically people, are you curious about data or analytics or what is it that makes you you? You can find your passion. You don't have to be passionate about people. You can be passionate about data, analyzing or production or something else. But if you are in that position, how can we make that position interesting to you?
So let me improvise here for a bit. And you tell me if I'm wrong. If you're interested in data rather than people, you could put the question in a way that resonates with you. For example, what data points are you looking forward to raise inside the work and outside of your work? And when you see them rise, you feel like engaged into doing the things you do. So a person could ask this kind of question, genuinely.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. I always felt, and I guess some of the members of the audience will agree, I always felt that the question should resonate with the person who you're asking it to. But listening to you, I feel that the most important resonance is with yourself.
Yeah, I think so too. Because if in a dream world, we would all be super curious about each other and if I'm curiously asking something about you, it's based on my past and my knowledge, as everything about me is. So it brings something about me to the table and might make you see things in a new light. But at the same time, we are just trying to find a solution here.
Yeah, awesome. That's right.
Curiosity is the key for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Wow, love it. Love the connection that you're making between the talks. While we are getting to the end of it, dear friends, you can ask Saara questions in the chat. I will translate them. And Saara, while we're waiting, here's one more question from me.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a lot about curiosity and how giving this freedom of exploring your own ideas of success liberates the power to change the organization. Is there anything else you would advise people to liberate, just like you did with this liberation of idea of success that really helps grow the company?
I would again just suggest everyone to meet every single person where they are. Forget about your idea of what it should be and meet them where they are. That's the best advice I've ever gotten, and I think that can lead that takes you a long way. No judgment. No, I don't have, like, often managers think that they need to have an answer, but they don't at all. We can find it together, and that's the key.
And one of the practices you used to strengthen this narrative was coming out with something you don't know, as I remember.
Yes.
That's good. I like how you do not, like, I don't hear you calling it working with stories specifically. There's more about eliciting, about listening. But for me, through my lens, it's pure story work, understanding what narrative is vital in the company now. Like, yes. We don't talk about success personally here, and changing it towards a narrative with more perspective, with more potential, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, one more from me then. Talking about success personally, about your personal ideas of success is good. Being powerful is good. Not being able to do something is good. Meeting people where they are is good. That's 4 narratives I heard you bring to the company. Is there anything you'd like to add, like a 5th narrative, maybe something leaders of the company should strongly believe in, so this whole journey can be possible?
I think the biggest issue is that the leaders still think that they need to know everything. It's
right.
Statistics is that in recruitment, when we're recruiting people in leadership roles, it's gone from, what it used to be is that you are the best at that specific job and you become a leader. But today in recruitment, it's like 90% of the job ads says communications. You need to be able to work with different kind of people. We need to appreciate diversity, and we need to have these stories that individuals share. You don't need to know. You don't need to know everything. That's not the biggest thing that leaders need to do. You need to listen and learn.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have one question coming from from Howard. He's asking, what is the strategy for moving this change journey from short term to making this part of the culture and long-term DNA? Love the question, Howard. Thank you so much.
I actually moved. I started with this one company, and then I got hired to the new owner, and I was part of the group management team, and I did this whole thing globally for 14-hour offices and 6 companies. Then it was more about what can we do in general and how can we actually change the culture. Then it's not just me handpicking and me personally teaching my learnings. but it's about the whole company being involved. And I think to be able to change the culture, that means the whole strategy needs to be changed. And you need to be able to educate a lot of the people what it means to be a people leader and storyteller and pro with the communications.
So if I'm getting you right, you're advising to make it a part of, personal identity. Like, who do you need to be for these people?
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. That's one of the principles, I guess, of moving the culture. Based on Edgar Schein, that was mentioned tonight. Yeah, that's key. Like, who you are for your people. Thank you.
I think things are changing as well. So we are in a time where the work life is not as it used to be. So this is a perfect time to apply different kind of approaches.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. We have one more big comment from Anna. Let me read it out to you because that's in Russian. Saara, yesterday an idea came to me that engagement at work would be even higher if companies would help employees discover their dreams. A dream that in which they can help other people, in which they can be volunteers, in which they can do something out of without being paid, so to speak. And if the employees would understand that with their job they do something that the company can give to others, and on meaningful projects for the employees, like a specific NGO sector, like if I care for like animals, for example, a company gives to the animals. That could influence engagement and the results of the company, and making employees more conscious and raising their quality of life. So Anna is asking.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just finish up. Anna is asking, do you know of any such examples? Maybe you could. Maybe there is a way to explore how the connection between this desire to give and donate something affects engagement and the quality of work.
Yes, I have two options or two examples. When I'm talking about liberating power, it means that you can actually affect how the company works. So one side of it is that I believe that you can learn from anyone in this world if you are curious and open. You don't have it doesn't have to be a teacher or someone who's been given the power to teach you something. So what we did for the company is that our coaches and check-ins, besides with yourself and with your manager and with the company, we had these check-ins with different individuals inside the company. You can have a monthly check-in with someone from a completely different department, just to kind of brainstorm things.
Okay.
So that way you can learn from the company, and you are able to affect how we built these things. And then another part of was when we were liberating power, we created these teams that were able to choose or design our kickoffs, our charity work during the year, and we designed everything to look like our team. If someone is specifically passionate about rescue dogs, then one year we worked with rescue dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So Anna is like spot on in terms of she gets the practice.
Yes. So when I'm talking about liberating power, it actually means that you have to do the work too. It can't be just me designing the kickoffs every year. It actually means that someone else is going to do it.
Love it. So liberating power can result in almost any kind of practice.
Yeah.
and even not related to profits, if I hear you correctly. But in the long term, it gives its results.
Yes.
Awesome. And
And it
given
also
your case, not so
time.
long term.
Yeah, and it liberates time from the leader, because the leaders are often, they are exhausted and they feel like they are doing too much. And I say, don't do that. Don't do that much. Take a step back and let someone else to do, or support someone else, not to do your job, but to restructure the whole process so you can analyze the whole business.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. That was really meaningful to me, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Please put some fires if you get out of this talk with ideas for the future and for the working with your company. I'm just going to leave some links to Saara in the chat. You can feel free to connect. Saara, a tradition. You've heard it from the previous talk. I'm going to ask you a question. So, a story is a lighthouse, and it's even better to have a chain of lighthouses, because the more tellers there are, the more the clearer the world becomes. So, what is the story you would like more people to tell these days?
Well, I'm a talent scout, so it's easy for me. I always want to know what makes you the best you. Always.
So stories about what makes people the best people.
Tell everyone what makes you the best you. It's so inspiring and exciting, for sure.
Oh, love it. Love the reply. Thank you so much, Saara. It was really something. And thank you once again for agreeing on the spot. This was terrific.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. And this concludes our first half of the conference. Saara, please feel free to stay and check out the rest of the talks if your schedule allows for it. Thank you so much. Right now, we will be going on a break till 2 p.m.